In 1995, a man is executed for betrayal and for breaking the rules of the Seven Dragons. The act serves as a warning that treachery will never be tolerated. That night, a brotherhood was sealed in blood. This is Blood Brothers, Baranaga. 3 decades later, Arif, an elite bodyguard, is assigned a critical mission. By his side is Gaz, his closest friend who has long been like family. Their task is to escort Sam, a member of the Seven Dragons, an organization with powerful reach in both legal and criminal circles. While stuck in traffic, Arif and Gaz notice a suspicious car trailing them. Before they can react, a street vendor suddenly smashes their window and pulls a gun. Almost instantly, the convoy comes under heavy attack. A gunfight erupts in the middle of the road. Arif and Gaz quickly secure Sam with the help of the escort team, then return fire with precision. Trained movements and accurate shots allow them to neutralize the threat. Once the dust settles, the survivors are brought to the police station for questioning. There, Arif and his team are pressed to account for every shot fired. Gaz insists they acted only in defense, but the police chief shows open hostility. It becomes clear that the authorities have long sought to bring down the Silent Guard, especially Gaz, though the influence of the Seven Dragons has kept them untouchable. The focus then shifts to the headquarters of Silent Guard, the most elite bodyguard agency in the country. Political leaders and crime syndicates alike depend on their services. The agency is led by Datuk Zul, who is also the head of the Seven Dragons. His 2 children are part of the business. Sheila manages operations, while Fadlan, the ambitious heir, is known for his sharp record. Within Silent Guard, blood ties matter less than loyalty. Brotherhood is the true foundation. This is best seen in the bond between Arif and Gaz. The story flashes back to their past, showing how hardship forged their connection. As children, Arif and Gaz grew up in poverty, often forced to steal to survive. Their shared struggles drew them close. Later, after Arif's father died, the weight of family debt fell on him and his brother Zaki, whose gambling made the situation worse. At that point, Gaz, already older, extended a lifeline by bringing Arif into Silent Guard. Faced with no better option, Arif accepted, even if it meant leaving Zaki behind, a brother already written off as hopeless. The story returns to the present. At first, the members of Silent Guard appear relaxed, playing billiards and joking with a woman. In truth, they are waiting for a target. Soon after, a long-haired man arrives. He is suspected of being the messenger behind the attack on Sam. The team quickly moves in. Gaz shocks him with an electric device and drags him unconscious to a warehouse. During interrogation, the man denies any involvement. After repeated attempts with no results, Gaz decides to end it. The man is killed, his body sealed inside a barrel of cement. Watching this, Arif begins to feel uneasy. He wonders if there is still a chance for a life away from violence. Later, he speaks with Gaz about their childhood, reminding him how both endured years of hardship. For Gaz, their current life is the answer to that suffering. He believes Silent Guard gives them power, protection, and a family bond that cannot be broken. He tells Arif that if he wants to walk away, he must also be ready to accept the same pain they once endured. Arif listens in silence, offering no reply. Meanwhile, Sheila, the eldest daughter of Datuk Zul, is engaged to Gaz and preparing for their wedding. Her ex-boyfriend Daniel reappears, hoping to win her back. Sheila rejects him, making it clear her heart belongs to Gaz. When Gaz later sees Daniel, anger takes over. Convinced that Daniel disrespected his fiancée, he slams his head against a car window and forces him to apologize. Daniel complies, but humiliation leaves him bitter and resentful. During a private lunch, Sheila brings up Gaz's family. She reminds him that even though Silent Guard feels like family, his real mother is still alive. Despite her anger over being abandoned, Sheila hopes he will reconnect with her. They agree to try finding her after the wedding. Soon after, Gaz and Fadlan are summoned by Datuk Zul. There, he reveals he has stage 4 cancer. He entrusts both with Silent Guard's future. Fadlan will handle legal affairs, while Gaz is appointed the new head of the Seven Dragons. Datuk Zul tells them to keep this secret from Sheila to protect her. Sheila eventually grows suspicious. By chance, she discovers the truth. Overwhelmed, she turns again to the sedatives she has been using to manage her anxiety. She obtains the medication through Arif, who secretly asks Mira, a nurse and the woman he loves, to help. While meeting Mira, Arif receives urgent news from Gaz. Shyam, the oldest member of Silent Guard, has killed one of Sam's men to protect a woman. The incident sparks conflict.
Budak aku tak payah mati untuk sampah.
Gaz defends Syam, explaining that the woman was pregnant and nearly assaulted. Sam rejects this, insisting she is only a thief and an illegal immigrant who deserves punishment. He demands retribution, declaring that life must be repaid with life. Now, as the new leader of the Seven Dragons, Gaz faces a heavy choice. The rules demand that Syam be executed, yet he struggles with the idea of killing someone he still considers a brother. Sheila pleads with him to abandon it all, asking him to leave the organization and build a new life together. But Gaz refuses to back down. The execution is carried out in an empty field, with every member of Silent Guard present along with Sam. Gaz declares that Syam broke their principles and endangered the family, so punishment is unavoidable. His decision sparks unease among the members, who question whether he is acting as a true leader or making a grave mistake. Syam is placed inside a car. In full view of Datuk Zul, Sam, and the others, Gaz pulls the trigger. Several shots echo through the field. He then sets the car ablaze, leaving no trace behind.
Tak betul ni, Roh. Jaga pada kita, Gaz.
The next day, the focus shifts to Zaki, Arif's older brother. He now works as a private detective from a small office. One day Daniel, Sheila's former lover, visits him. Daniel reveals a vengeful plan. He wants to record Sheila and Gaz during their wedding and use the footage to humiliate them. Zaki reluctantly agrees to help. Later, Zaki notices the wedding invitation in Daniel's possession. The event will be secured by Silent Guard, which includes his own brother Arif. Realizing this, Zaki begins to reconsider his role in the plan. The wedding day arrives. The ceremony runs smoothly. Guests celebrate, and members of the Seven Dragons are in attendance. Yet beneath the joy, Sheila's anxiety begins to resurface. Arif brings her medicine. As he enters her room, he unexpectedly runs into Zaki, who is disguised as a catering waiter. Zaki is secretly planting a hidden camera. The encounter makes Arif suspicious of his brother. After the ceremony ends, tragedy strikes. Gaz enters Sheila's room and finds her lifeless on the bed. Sedatives lie scattered nearby. The night meant for joy turns into devastation. Gaz checks the CCTV footage and sees that Arif was the last person to enter the room. The police launch an investigation. Arif is captured and taken to an abandoned workshop, where Gaz, Fadlon, and Silent Guard members beat him while demanding answers. Arif swears he did not kill Sheila. Gaz presents phone messages suggesting Arif received payment to poison her. Believing the evidence, Gaz accuses Arif of betraying them under Sam's orders. But back at the scene, Datuk Zul rejects that idea. He insists Sam could not have been behind it and warns that the truth points to a deeper betrayal. Soon after, police discover a hidden camera in Sheila's room, raising the possibility of another culprit. While Arif remains locked in the workshop, a masked man visits him and demands the video file from the hidden camera. Arif denies knowing anything, then seizes the moment to escape. He rushes to Mira, asking her to confirm whether the medicine he gave Sheila was dangerous. Mira assures him it was safe and genuine. This leaves Arif even more uncertain about who is responsible. Finally, he recalls the suspicious sight of Zaki on the wedding night. The story shifts to Zaki's office, where he reviews the hidden camera footage with Daniel. Instead of scandal, they uncover evidence of a murder. Sensing leverage, Zaki demands a higher price for the footage. Daniel refuses and tries to seize control. In the struggle, Zaki sprays pepper spray into Daniel's eyes, grabs the flash drive, and escapes. Not long after, Arif confronts Zaki. He demands to know what his brother was doing at Sheila's wedding. Zaki denies everything until Arif threatens to destroy his laptop, which contains years of work. Cornered, Zaki admits the truth. Daniel had paid him to plant the camera in Sheila's room. The confession enrages Arif. To him, Zaki has always chased money through the wrong path. Zaki fights back, accusing Arif of being no better, serving Silent Guard in a role far dirtier than his own. As the brothers argue, Gaz's men trace them through the serial number of the hidden camera. Arif and Zaki attempt to escape, but Zaki struggles with the exit door. Forced to confront his former comrades, Arif fights while Zaki fumbles. At last, they break free, but Zaki leaves his laptop behind. Gaz's men recover it and use it to track them further. The next day, Arif and Zaki confront Daniel to retrieve the flash drive that could prove Arif's innocence in Sheila's death. They need an access card to reach it. Zaki proposes using disguise.
Aku akan menyamar jadi salesman. Sambil tu, kau ninja ikut belakang. Kau rembat master key dia. Lepas tu, kita cuba balik ke kereta. Vroom! Kita ciao!
But Arif grows impatient. He simply kicks the door down and seizes the card. They rush to Daniel's apartment, only to find they are too late. A masked man has already taken the flash drive. Arif clashes with him in a brutal fight for the bag containing the evidence. In the chaos, Zaki manages to grab the bag. But before they can escape, Gaz and his men arrive. The fight intensifies. Arif rips the mask off their opponent and is shocked to see Pablo, a member of Silent Guard. Exposed, Pablo flees. Meanwhile, Zaki tries to slip away but runs into Gaz. Outmatched, he is beaten badly. Arif arrives, and the brothers are forced into a duel. Gaz dominates, breaking the bond they once shared. He raises a knife, ready to kill Arif. At that moment, Zaki makes one final move. From another room, he projects the hidden video onto a screen. The footage reveals the shocking truth. The real killer of Sheila is Fadlan, Gaz's younger brother, who had orchestrated the plan so her death would appear caused by the medicine, framing Arif for the crime. Meanwhile, Datuk Zul receives a police report confirming the same suspicion. The CCTV footage shows anomalies, and the evidence at the crime scene has been tampered with. He quickly realizes the mastermind is Fadlan, since only two people had full access to the system, Gaz and Fadlan. Soon after, Fadlan confronts him and confesses everything. He reveals his hatred has grown since learning that his biological father was executed by Datuk Zul. The man killed at the beginning of the story was his father. From that day, his life was driven by vengeance. His anger deepened when Datuk Zul chose Gaz as the new leader of the Seven Dragons instead of him. The confession infuriates Datuk Zul. He raised Fadlan as his own in hopes of making amends for the past, but in return he received betrayal. Blinded by rage, he vows to eliminate every traitor that very night. Datuk Zul intends to bring Fadlan before the Seven Dragons for judgment. But the situation changes when Pablo suddenly appears. Tension rises further as Gaz, Arif, and Zaki also arrive. The soldiers who side with Fadlan launch an assault. A gunfight erupts. They target the car carrying Datuk Zul, and after a hail of bullets, the vehicle explodes, killing him. Gaz tries to save him but is outnumbered and shot. Wounded, Gaz is taken to Zaki's house, where Mira treats him. The house becomes their temporary hideout from Fadlan and his men. When Gaz regains consciousness, Arif suggests surrendering to the police for the sake of their families. Gaz refuses. Meanwhile, Fadlan joins forces with Moose, one of the Seven Dragons who supports his claim and advises him on how to defeat Gaz. At the same time, Pablo pressures the Silent Guard members still loyal to Gaz. When no one reveals his location, Fadlan orders harsher tactics to force them. Using the grief over Datuk Zul's and Sheila's deaths, Fadlan rallies the central members to his side. He secures his position as the sole heir and twists the truth by accusing Gaz and Arif of plotting against the family. Tension rises again when the police arrive at Zaki's house to move them to a safe location. But Gaz has already disappeared. He travels into a remote forest where Shyam has been hiding. It is revealed that Gaz never executed Shyam, instead keeping him alive in secret.
Aku paham, Gaz. Jaga berdua kita, Gaz.
The police fail to locate Gaz but take Arif, Zaki, and their families into custody. On the way, the convoy is ambushed by Fadlan's forces. A fierce battle follows. Despite their resistance, Zaki is captured. Arif is devastated to see his brother in enemy hands. He quickly escapes with Mira and his nephew Adi. As he tries to reassure them, Adi receives a message on his phone from Fadlan. The threat is clear: Arif must come to the headquarters with the flash drive, or Zaki will be executed. Arif arms himself and goes alone. At the headquarters, he finds Fadlan holding a gun to Zaki's head. Cornered, Arif admits the flash drive is in his car. As Fadlan's men rush to retrieve it, Arif makes his move. He has hidden a bomb inside the vehicle. The explosion throws the compound into chaos, and in the confusion, he hurls a grenade to keep the attackers off balance. Amid the smoke, Arif rushes to free Zaki, who is weakened by a gunshot wound. But the attempt stops when Fadlan presses a gun against Zaki's head. At the same time, the sound of gunfire grows louder as the police close in on the headquarters. Panic spreads through the compound. Fadlan orders his men to hold off the assault while he focuses on Arif and Zaki. He vows that no one will leave alive. In the chaos, Arif sees only one slim chance to save his brother. He must either attack Fadlan head-on or wait for the police, who may arrive too late. Before losing his phone, he manages to hit send. The video exposing Fadlan's scheme spreads, shattering the plan. But the escape attempt fails. Outnumbered, Arif and Zaki are cornered. At the critical moment, Gaz appears with Shyam. A massive fight erupts. They split up. Gaz confronts Fadlan directly, while Arif and Zaki push through the encirclement. Their path is blocked by Pablo. In the struggle, Zaki is stabbed and collapses, gravely wounded. Shyam intervenes, killing Pablo and carrying Zaki to safety. Arif rushes back to the main battle. Gaz is losing ground, but with Arif's help the fight turns. Fadlan, who once held the advantage, is forced back. Gaz wraps a rope around him, and Arif pulls the lever. Fadlan is lifted into the air, helpless and defeated. The battle is over. Arif carries the wounded Gaz away, but Zaki, fatally injured, dies, leaving his son Adi behind. 2 months later, Shyam takes leadership of the 7 dragons. Gaz, now recovered, chooses to leave in search of his mother, uncertain if he will return. Arif, with Adi by his side, watches silently as Gaz bids farewell and walks away. The film ends. So the moral of the story is, if your family reunion involves bombs, betrayal, and burning cars, maybe it's time to rethink your family business.